What is up, everybody? This is Luke with Wilson Auto Detailing, and the subject of today's video is engine bay detailing. And I'm shooting this video because I had a subscriber reach out to me. My man with Warped Wackos requested a video on engine bay detailing. So, bro, I appreciate your subscription, I appreciate your comments, I appreciate your activity on my channel, and I appreciate your views. So wanted to honor you with this video, and I hope this helps you along with many others. Now, I'm doing the video on this engine because it's so bad. It's probably one of the worst engines I've ever seen, and that's just because the car has 215,000 miles on it, and the engine has never been detailed, and really the car has never been cleaned in general. So this is just a great subject for a lot of videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot it on this car. But let me bring you in, show you the engine first, and explain just a couple things. So here we have the engine, and not only is it covered in dust, okay, it's covered in dirt, it's covered in grime, and it's not just covered in this stuff. I mean, it's really, this is like years and years and years of not only her owning the car, but also a previous owner. And this is like not going to be an easy job, okay? So before I get into this, let me address a couple things about specifically engine detailing. Number one, the way that I am about to detail this engine is not for everybody. And I know that as soon as this video comes out, there are going to be some haters who are gonna freak out at me using water to detail this engine, because there are detailers all over the place who freak out. That just happened. They're going to say that it's dangerous because of the electrical parts in the engine. You're gonna not be able to start the car when you finish because you're gonna ruin some of the electrical parts. You're gonna drench them in water, so don't do it this way. Or they're gonna say it's not safe to use a pressure washer, or it's not safe to use a garden hose on an engine because there's so many delicate parts in there. That's why it's covered, because it's not supposed to be wet, blah, 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 blah. Let me just say this, okay? You do not have to believe me, and you do not have to do it this way, okay? So if you hate the way I'm doing this, just don't watch this video and don't do it this way. But for all of you rational, reasonable people and detailers out there, modern day engines are very well sealed. And so using water to detail and to clean and to degrease modern day engines is not a big deal. It's totally safe. You need to use common sense and let common sense lead you, but it's not something you need to worry about or freak out about. It's not going to hurt the engine to use water. It really, really is not. And I'll show you by what I'm about to do. I'm about to use a ton of water to detail this engine because it's gonna take a ton of water because it's so dirty. And you'll see it's not gonna hurt it at all. And this is just one of those times where you just have to use water if you're going to detail an engine that's this dirty. It's just like door jambs or things like that. There's so many cracks and crevices, and there's so many places that you can't get into with just your hand or a brush or a microfiber towel if you're just dampening it. Like, you're not gonna be able to clean this heavy duty dirt without some water source. I know a lot of detailers like to use steamers to detail engines. You can actually even use the Tornador and stuff, but that stuff is gonna be reserved for engines with a lot lighter dirt or just kind of a maintenance engine detail. For something like this, it's just necessary to use water. Now, one note real fast. Before you detail an engine, it's important to not let the engine be too hot. In other words, it's a good idea that the car was not just driven before you detail the engine. Let it sit for a little bit, let the engine cool down. But it's a super hot day today, and so the engine's going to be hot because it's black and it's gonna heat up. But it's better just on a cool surface. But if it's gonna be warm, just let it be warm. Don't let it be like freaking crazy hot, okay? So let me show you the products I'm gonna use, and let's break this down. So in front of me, I've got Meguiar's Super Degreaser. I have Purple Power. I have, and I've got some spray bottles, microfiber towels, and a few different brushes. And these brushes are gonna be of great importance. But the microfiber towels just need to be some towels that you're really not concerned about getting dirty, and you can just kind of throw them away, or use them strictly for engine cleaning or tire cleaning. So what I'm gonna do to degrease this engine is I'm gonna use Purple Power. Now, why is that? Well, because number one, I'm gonna have to use a ton of it, okay? In order to degrease this engine, I'm gonna have to use a ton of product because it's just that dirty. But I'm also just a huge fan of the industrial strength of Purple Power and how well it breaks down really, really heavy duty dirt, grime, road grime, all that stuff. Just a huge fan. So I'm gonna use it full strength on this engine. If you're just maintaining an engine and you're just wiping off dust, or you're just you detail your engine every 10,000 miles or something, you can dilute it something like 5-to-1, 6-to-1, and that'll be just fine. But because this is such heavy duty dirt, I'm going to use the Purple Power full strength. Now, how exactly am I going to do this? Well, check it out. So I've got my full strength Purple Power right here. And what I'm going to do is literally drench this engine bay and all these parts in this degreaser. Now, if you are concerned about electrical parts, feel free to take a microfiber towel and cover any specific electrical part that you're concerned about. But once again, if you were to unbox any of the electrical parts where they're sealed, you'll see some really serious watertight rubber lining inside of them. And the only reason I bring that up is because I just want to reinforce my point that it's really, really, really safe to use water, and as long as you're using common sense, okay? Like, don't hold a hose at the, like, I'm not gonna hold the hose right here on the battery. I'm not gonna hold the hose out any sort of plug or anything like that, because I'm not an idiot, but you just be smart and you're good. So, before you degrease the engine, it's always important to look up, because the hood of the car is going to be extremely dirty. Don't ever forget about the hood, because you're going to want to degrease all up in here. You're going to want to degrease these crevices and cracks with this paint, where all this stuff is, and you're going to want to get down there, all that stuff. So you want to do the hood, under the hood first, because it's going to drip down and it's going to hit all of the engine bay. So you definitely want to clean that first, so that you can then clean the engine bay and have a totally clean engine. So watch as I take the Purple Power and literally just spray it and scrub the hood. Now, the brushes that I am going to use for this are these two feathered, softer brushes, because I'm dealing with some paint, and they're feathered at the end. They're very soft. They're a wheel and wheel well brush, and you can get them on Amazon. I'll link these up in the description box below. But I'm going to go ahead and degrease the top of this underside of this hood. Now let's check out, this full strength Purple Power is already working to break down that dirt and that grime. And I know some of you guys are thinking, why would you use full strength Purple Power on a painted surface? Well, using Purple Power on the underside of the hood on this painted surface is actually proving to be very safe. I've done it time and time and time again. I do not use Purple Power on the paint on the outside of a car, but I do use it on the underside of the hood, and I've never, ever, ever, ever had a problem with it. It certainly works very well. So I'm gonna go ahead and scrub it with the brush, and I'm gonna hose it off. Now you can definitely see that it took care of a lot of the dirt and the grime. However, there's obviously still some places back in these creases with these hinges and bolts where you're gonna have to have sort of a more specific approach with probably a smaller brush. But you can see that it's very, 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 just a lot more clean than it was. Now, I'm not doing this car for money. This is just for this video. So I'm not gonna reapply degreaser and really make this hood perfection, but you get the idea. Degrease, scrub, hose off. Degrease, scrub, hose off. And a lot of times this big middle piece is going to be a big kind of foam pad, and it really just acts like a sponge when you're spraying water, and it takes a long time to dry, so just keep that in mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the engine bay, which is really most people's concern. I'm gonna do the exact same thing as I did before. I'm gonna take my full strength Purple Power. I'm gonna soak the engine bay. I'm gonna soak these side I'm blanking right now. Even these painted pieces right here, these valleys, I'm gonna soak all of this black trim. I'm gonna soak everything in here. I'm gonna scrub and I'm gonna spray. So let's do this. Okay, now this is the first pass. So you can see, obviously a whole lot cleaner. However, there's still areas when you get real close or you get real tight back in these kind of hidden areas where there's still gonna be water, or there's still gonna be dirt, there's still gonna be grime, and then you get down into these areas all down here that really probably most people don't think about, or you get way back here in that white painted area right there. There's still some dirt and grime back there. So with an engine that's this dirty, it is certainly going to take more than one pass. So I'm gonna go ahead and go for a second pass, and I'm gonna use my kind of more specific detailed brush down here to get into some of those tighter areas. And I'll bring you in for the second pass look. Here is the second pass, and I had to put my brush there to hold this hood up because it doesn't hold up on its own. Now, this is the second pass. What I'm going to do, you pretty much have two options. You can air dry, or three options. You can just let it dry just naturally, just let it drip dry. You can take a microfiber towel, wipe off kind of the main surface areas that you can reach and dry it that way. Or you can take an air blower, maybe a tornador, some type of pressurized air or electric air, and just blow it dry. For the sake of this video, I'm just gonna take a microfiber towel and dry it and then show you what I do next. Now, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and start the engine up, and I'm gonna let the car run for about 5 minutes. Sometimes you get a really kind of high-pitched squeaking sound. Don't freak out, it's perfectly normal, and that'll go away, but that doesn't happen very often. But I'm just gonna show you guys that this was actually a safe thing to do because the car is about to start up, and I've done this for years, and I've never had a problem, not even one time. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the car up and let it run for about 5 minutes. And there's the squeaky sound, but guess what? It started up and no problem. And guess what? The squeaky sound went away in like 3 seconds. And so I'm gonna let this run for about 5 minutes, and as it's running, the engine will heat up to a certain degree, and that's also going to help dry any of the leftover wet parts. Now, once again, I just want to emphasize that the purpose of this video was not to detail the engine to perfection, but rather just an instructional tutorial on how to detail extremely dirty engines. I will make another video about how I detail my own engine because it's very clean and it's maintenanced on a regular basis. I'll make another video on how to detail less dirty engines, but this is specifically how to detail very dirty engines. So let's take a look at the finished product. So here it is. The car was running for about 5 minutes. It's all dry, nothing's left over wet or anything like that. You have the top of the hood, much cleaner than it was before, right? So you got all of that cleaned up. Again, not perfection, that's not the purpose, but just instruction. So you basically have two options at this point. You can, number one, you can leave the engine as it is, as just a clean engine. It's black, the dirt, dust, grime is all off. And that's great. However, you can put a layer of protection on your engine. And so here's kind of the two ways I personally protect my engine. Number one, you have an aerosol dressing. This is Stoner's tire shine dressing. It's called More Shine Long Lasting Tire Coating. You can spray this on your engine and it's gonna put a thin sacrificial layer that just like waxing your car, it's going to protect the engine from the elements, from whether it be water or it be dirt or dust or grime, it's going to put a layer or a barrier between your engine and that dirt. So the next time you go to clean your engine, it will be much, much easier. Now, the second kind of dressing I use is not a spray dressing, but it's Chemical Guys VRP. And you can apply this with a sponge that looks just like this. Now, the only disadvantage to this is that you're not going to be able to get this into the cracks and crevices that you're going to be able to spray this into, and that's an obvious thing. But this, I think, just is a really great dressing that's easy to remove, easy to apply. So if you wanted to, you could actually just apply this to the major visual areas and then apply the spray dressing to the cracks and crevices that are a little bit less visual, less seen, and it's kind of a way to save product because in my opinion, it's easier to go through more of a spray dressing than it is to go through this kind of dressing. So you can kind of save money that way. But I'll show you both of these dressings side by side. So on this panel right here is the Chemical Guys VRP, just kind of in this area right here. I'll give you a couple different angles. That is all dressed with Chemical Guys VRP. Okay. And now this side is Stoner More Shine Tire Shine all around this area. Did it below here. So all of that is More Shine Tire Shine. I'll give you one last look. Here's Chemical Guys VRP. Here is Stoner Tire Shine. Those are the only two places that I dressed. Right back there and all around here. Now, whether or not you can really tell the difference between the visual enhancement of those two dressings, it's kind of negligible. It's just your preference, I guess. I just think that you can use less of Chemical Guys VRP and get more out of it, and it takes more spray dressing to really get the look you're after. So I think it's just kind of a way to save a little money. But I just want to repeat again, this is the manner in which I detail engines when they are just severe, severe dirt, okay? Basically, in conclusion, number one, you can use Super Degreaser Meguiar's, you can use Purple Power. Both of those, you can use them full strength. They're both gonna be safe for everything that I just did. They're not gonna stain anything, they're not gonna strip your paint. There are testimonies about Purple Power stripping paint and corroding into metal, but that is only the case if you were to spray the Purple Power onto the paint and then let it sit and dry. Because you're using so much water in this process, you're not only rinsing the Purple Power degreaser off, but you're also diluting it a lot. So you really just don't need to worry about that. Number two, you of course start with the top, then go to the engine. I would use the feathered soft wheel and wheel well brush that I use because it's soft, it's not going to scratch anything. I'll link that up in the description box below. I'll also link up Super Degreaser and Purple Power in the description box below this video. And then guys, just understand that modern day engines, really, it's very, very safe to use water inside of them. Everything in here that is potentially able to get hurt from water is very, very sealed up very tightly. But if you don't believe me, you're more than welcome to take a microfiber towel and kind of lay it over an electrical area or anything that you think you shouldn't get wet. You could stuff some microfiber towels down in there. Engine bay detailing can be very, very simple, and you really don't need to overthink it or overcomplicate it. And yes, it is safe to use water, but make sure you just use common sense and, you know, don't be dumb and don't do, you know, something that obviously seems dangerous. I'm already anticipating a bunch of haters commenting on this video saying, oh, you're a hack, why would you use a hose on an engine? But you know what, guys? I just showed you that it's completely safe, and not to mention this car is like it's like 10 years, 15 years old. The engine's never been detailed, so talk about something that is probably fragile to use water on, and I just drenched it in water and then started the engine and nothing was wrong. That ought to say something, you know what I'm saying? So guys, if you'd like to buy any of the products I used today, make sure you click the show more box below this video and click on the appropriate link for whatever product you are wanting, and it'll take you straight to Amazon. It's a totally safe link and you can purchase it there, and if you use my links, I will get a little commission, and it's your way of helping support this channel stay alive. Guys, if you like this video and it helps you, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And make sure to leave me a comment below if you have anything you'd like to say or add that could be constructive, or maybe help out other people in the detailing community or in the Wilson Auto Detailing community. Leave a comment below if that is you. And subscribing to my channel is very, very easy. And if you have not subscribed, then definitely consider subscribing, because I come out with videos every 2 days on how to maintenance your car or detail your car for not only the professional detailers, but also for the do-it-yourselfers. Not only explaining products and tools to use, but also strategies, business skills, and communication skills for all kinds of detailers out there and do-it-yourselfers. So guys, if you haven't subscribed, click the little red subscribe button right there and make sure you become part of the Wilson Auto Detailing community. Guys, once again, thanks for watching, and from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, I'll see you next time.